Hey, this is Ethers with Mojo Hype Man. How y'all doing today? You know, on my last podcast, we talked about, loving ourselves and loving through traumas, right? Today we're gonna talk a little bit about projections and connections. We're gonna talk about projections and connections, and those are those things that are connected to those trauma bonds where we connect with people. We connect with people on the positive side as well as the negative side, or what I would say for our higher self as well as our lower self. And a lot of times we connect with those people because they project some of the things that are familiar to us. All right. Some of those connections we can look at as silver cords, which is one of those connections that's outside of your physical self. See, sometimes we have our physical self, right? We have our physical self, which is down in the 3D, which is in the 3D. We have our physical self, and those are the things that are here, that's in front of us, that we get attached to. We get attached to family. We get attached to cars. We get attached to money. We get attached to success. We get attached to people who have the same or familiar situations that disturbed us, and that's where we connect. Right? That's where we connect, and that's where you open up the opportunity, and you open up those things for them to be able to project on you. A lot of times we out here and we don't understand what's being projected upon us from our friends, from our families, from our coworkers, from our owners, for our bosses, for anyone of authority. We just don't understand sometimes what's being projected upon us, right? And sometimes it connects with us, sometimes it doesn't. But those things that connect with us could connect with us on either realm. It could connect with us. It could connect with us on a higher level, and it could connect to us on a lower level. Right? And the reason that I say that is that I want you to understand that what's above is below. What's above is below. So whatever you looking at one side of it, best believe that there's another side to it. All right. So now we have what we're gonna call the 3D projections. Our 3D projections is like I was saying. They got a car. You see the chain. You see, they buy bottles. Those are those physical things. Those are those things on the 3D that we attach ourselves to, or other people project out to us, and we connect with. Right. As well as there's a outside your physical self. There's also this astral self that's outside of yourself that is subdued, or no, I wouldn't say subdued. Sometimes it's subdued, but I want to say it also has its influence. So projection isn't always physical. Sometimes projection is astral, in our astral energetic self. When people understand who you are, they start to know who you are. Then they try to put those things that matches with your energy, and when they match with your energy, they understand that that's the where they have the influence to persuade. So that's when they start to project their feelings upon you. They may be happy about one thing, and you know what they do? They bring it out to you, and you say, "Yeah, I'm happy too." You go right along with the program because that's what they projected out to you. That's what you was familiar with, and it made you feel a certain way. And those are some of the things that, when we start to self-regulate, we'll be able to choose those things a little differently on what we're allowing to be projected on us and what we're allowing to connect to us. Everybody projects. Everybody projects their influence upon anybody that's on the outside, that's outside of themselves. But what are they projecting? Is it something that's beneficial to you? Then jump in, be all in. But understand, like this might cause and effect. But you put out, you get back. All right. So now, when we get into connections, right? We talked about those 3D connections. Well, oh yeah, he got a nice this and a nice that, and all those physical things that's outside of ourselves, and even those physical things that we deal with, like sex, sexual tension. Those things are physical as well. Those things are in our 3D too. And those are the things I'm gonna say, they project upon you and you be influenced. They project upon you and you be influenced. It's like when you meeting somebody in the spot, or you meet them in the club, or you meet them on the side of across the room, or you meet them in the market, or you meet them in the grocery store somewhere. It's just like they project that, hey, I like you. I flip my hair. I wink my eye, or I stand a little close. They projecting. They projecting what they want upon you. Now now it's your acceptance. Now here we go with self-regulation. If you don't have a balance within yourself, then you're accepting everything that's given. And once they start projecting that enough to you, guess what? You create a connection to your astral self, to your energetic self. Your energetic self also connects with this person, or I guess I'm gonna say place or thing. Because I guess in the 3D, when he fly you out, or she fly you out, that's a 3D thing that they connected with you. You feel excited and everything goes forward. But a lot of times we don't think about our astral self, which is also being influenced by the projection. So just when you think you ain't feeling nothing, you turn around and found out you feeling something. What you feeling? How you get to balance out what it is you feeling in your astral self and your energetic self, because that's the one that kind of like determines how you feel and what's sending what type of nerves and energy through your nervous system that's making you feel some kind of way in your stomach and your chest and your throat. Those are some of the things that we gotta look at. We gotta look at in order to understand how we are being influenced by certain things. And some people, yeah, they strong on the outside, but they astral self. Anything come in, anything come out. You ready? You ready for it? Yeah, let's do it every time. I know it's been times where people will say, well, you know what? I'm gonna stop doing this. Person come around, they start projecting on you, say, hey man, let's do this. Hey bro, let's do this. The old person just say, hey man, let's do that. It's familiar to you, made your serotonin get started and your dopamine started jumping. Here we go. The projection has connected. And not through your physical self. but through your astral self. It reminded you. It made the energy feel the same. It made you feel familiar. Now, self-regulation gonna give you those things that you really want to be familiar with. Do I want to be familiar with that? Do I want to be familiar when it comes to sex or activities? Do I want to be familiar for being a drug addict? Do I want to be familiar for being a narcissist? Do I want to be familiar for being aggressive? Do I want to be familiar with not controlling my feminine, not controlling my masculine? Is that something I want to be familiar with? Those are the choices that you got to make. Because sometimes you get these lower vibration people, and they have the ability, and they have the spunk to project upon you, to feel you out and give you the good feeling. You got lower vibration people that could do that. Because if you like this and we bring it around, then that's what you associate yourself with. But you got to look at it and see if you want to be associated with that kind of thing. Whatever it is. But just know that it's not just your physical self, it's not just your mental self, it's your astral self. So that's where you're gonna have to start to take it out your energy. Take those things out your energy. You could try to take it out your mind, but as long as it's in your energy, that frequency or that code that's familiar with that particular thing, gonna always light up when it's around. Cause that energy gonna start to fire up. Your astral self gonna start to fire up. Now, when your physical self and your astral self agree together, you know your mind going, whether it like it or it don't. If your mental self associates itself with your spirit, with your astral self, then you know your body going. Because when two or more agree, we agree. So now I'm gonna talk a little bit, and that was my, it's a little bit about projection, letting you know how people, people, places, and things make you feel a certain way to remind you of certain things, and sometimes they lower vibrational. Sometimes they things that you shouldn't really be associated with. Sometimes we gotta build our stature. And know that I'm higher than some things. Not some people, some things. Some activities, some processes. I don't want to be familiar with those things, and you have that option. And now those are some of the things that self-regulation kind of helps us guide ourselves in maintaining our 3D self as well as our 5D self. As well as our physical self, as well as our astral self, as well as our mental self. Because just like I have to do push-ups with my physical self, I have to do meditation for my astral self. I have to read and stay conscious and stay and create the opportunities to comprehend and understand for my mental self. So we got to exercise all of these things because all of these things are a part of us. And you best believe, source, like I say, the source, one source, it's gonna go one way, and that's the cycle that's been created. So you think you could try to buck it, you could try to run from it, you could try to hide from it, but if source got one system that's created, best believe it's gonna override everything that has to do with you. But what's your energy like? Because that's what's your mental like? Where are you in the physical? Those are all the things. Those are all the things that are gonna that's gonna be accounted for when it's time to pay your karmic debt. When it's time to pay your karmic debt, and your karmic debt are the things that you put out, and you get those things back. What you put out, you get it back. When it's negative, guess what you create? You create negative karma. You create negative energy. And when you create negative energy, that drops you into a lower vibration. So now you operate only in that area. And just like everything else, if you get used to it, you got to consciously, in your mind, understand that you got to break it. Because it's not going to go away by itself, because it's been created in your energy. You've already gave it its own body. So now you got to take away that body. How do you do that? Well, if we're going to only talk about our energetic self, which I think that gets the most influence by other energies. That's why we have these empaths. That's why we have chosen ones. That's why we have, shaman and prophets and you know what I mean. Just all these different type of energies all these different type of energies that's circulating, that all have their own influence, that all have their own energies, which all has their own structure. So I'm gonna use this as an example, right? When you go into a place, right? When you go into a place, let's say for example, no, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna put it in a relationship term, right? In a relationship term, right? So now, if you know, in order to have a relationship with this type of person, and they, whatever the rules y'all set, and you in the middle of that guideline, then that's where we both understand where we at, where we going, right? So now, when we have two people, right? When you have two people, and we're making a connection, there's a single energy that's being created here, right? There's a single energy that's being created here, and we sometimes are not conscious of what that energy is doing, how it's creating for itself, and that's through our activities. That's through our projection to each other, my connection with you. And if we don't understand where our connection is and what our connection is about, then those are those things that now we get influenced. Now we get influenced by external things. So those are the things that, I think that we should look out for. Be able to understand what we need to do to grow in those areas and not leave those areas out. Not leave out the fact that, I don't know what example I'm gonna say. Mary liked to go to the club. You ain't necessarily like to go to the club, but when Mary come around, she projects this club mentality. She projects this club experience to you, and now you like, yeah. You was vibrating at a different speed when it was coming in. Before it was coming in. And I ain't saying don't do it or do it. All I'm saying is understand it's a projection. Understand it's creating a connection. And the more you create those connections, you create net connections like silver cords. Let's kind of understand what that is. The silver cord are those connections that's connected to your energy. And how tight in your energy are they? Sometimes we let cords that just dangle, because all of them ain't silver cords. Some of them are just dangling. Those silver cords, those are the ones that's kind of like detrimental to you. Those are the ones that it either love you or hate you. That's one of those things. Those are those type of connections that create traumas. Those are those type of connections that create dis-ease, which at some point create disease, because it's a whole chemical makeup in your body. That's a whole nother direction. That's a whole nother class. I'll come back with that one down the line. However, when we understand that people also connect with us in a serious way, because you could try anything and that connection just won't go away. You could try everything and that cord just won't break. You could be cold to it, think you're finna freeze it out. You could be hot to it, think you're finna burn it up. But those are those connections that in mind that we need to be a little more conscious of. You have those other cords, you have those other things that those other people, those other things, those other places that also have a connection to you. Family, some closer than others. Some family members are silver cords, and some family members are not silver cords. Some of those people you'll have a problem kind of breaking off to, and some people you won't have a problem breaking off from. But I think it's something that we need to be conscious of. We need to be conscious of our energetic self, as well as, not by itself, as well as our physical self, as well as our mental self. And figure out what it is we gonna use to balance it. From a mental point of view, he go to compartmentalize. We got the mental point of view, we got the astral point of view, and then we got the physical point of view. All of it has its own process, has its own way of doing this thing, because source is one. Source is one. All of this is together. Source is one. And all the rules that's coming in with source is going to apply. You can like it or you don't like it. It don't matter. It's going to apply. From your chakras, to the speed of your chakras, to the opening and closing of your chakras, to the creating of your kundalini. From the creation of your Ida and your Pingala. These are things that we need to look at so we can balance out ourselves. And like I said, like I said, there's no particular, to me, in my mind, there's no particular religion that comes with that. It's a process of creating spiritual strength. In whatever you want to be strong in. But I always talk about that return. You want to be strong with source, source give you your stuff back. You want to be with lower vibration, guess what you get back? Lower vibration stuff. And be satisfied with it, because that's what you're creating for yourself. And if you ain't satisfied with it, guess what? You got the opportunity to ascend. You have the opportunity of ascension, which is to rise to a higher vibration till your vibration so high lower vibration can't even jump that high. Because when they jump that high, by the time they jump that high, they ain't gonna no longer want to be lower vibration. They'll be, by the time they jump as high as your vibration, they no longer in their vibration. But we got to learn how to balance ourselves out, and it ain't easy. You ain't gonna get, like I always say, you ain't gonna get it tomorrow. It's a journey. It take years. It take education. It take practice. It take understanding. It take the release of some of your traumas. It take the release of some of your indiscretions. To be at a high vibration is not an easy task. It doesn't come with a candle. It doesn't come with burying. It doesn't come with reading the Bible. It comes from all of it. So it's complete. So all of these little things that's stretched out across the world, they all create their own energy. But they all come together. It's all on the same frequency. And when we rise or lift our vibrations, we're less apt to be subjected to the projections and false connections. So the connections that's gonna balance out with your vibration, those are the ones that's gonna make you smile. Those are the ones that's gonna make you feel good about yourself. And that's even in low vibration. If you're low vibration and they balance out with your vibration, then that's what's gonna make you feel good and smile about yourself. But if that's what you want to be familiar, if that's what you want familiar with yourself. Because you got all type of people coming at you every day. Every day. You got good people, bad people, middle people, black people, white people, purple people. People gonna come at you every day and they gonna project something on you every day. The man on the corner asking for $1, he projected the fact that he need that dollar on you. But if we ain't mindful of those things that's happening around us, then everything just fall on you. Everything becomes becomes one of those things you got to deal with. If we ain't being mindful of the growth of our physical self, if we ain't being mindful of the growth of our astral self, if we ain't being mindful of the growth of our spiritual self, mental self, where we create our prana, we just need to be a little more mindful about those things that's being projected upon us, and we letting into our energetic field. And by now, if you don't understand that your energetic field is just as important as your physical self, then what I think, I don't know what they call it today, woke, awaken, woken, walking. I don't know what they call it. But if you don't understand that your physical self is part of your astral self, and that's part of your mental self, then you don't have that true connection. Like, you don't know what's all flowing. And right now, in this day and age, everything is playing on our energetic self. The physical self is gone. But we still chase those things. That's fine. That's fine. Everybody like fine things. Everybody like, what hope for good things. And you can manifest it from yourself for both sides of the spectrum. From a high vibrational point of view, from a low vibrational point of view. But the return, what did you give up? Cause from my experience, to get for your high vibration, you got to give up. You got to give up, a lot of yourself, a lot of introspection, a lot of things about yourself. Those are the things that you're breaking off when you go into a high vibration. Cause you got to be lighter. You can't have all this heavy stuff on your heart. And if we all can move in the high vibration, the top high vibration, is love. It's love. Everybody feel good with it. But we just starting to love the wrong things in the wrong position, in the wrong spaces. And I believe we can get back to that. Till we all in one space. I definitely believe that. But believing is just halfway there. But we'll make it there. We'll make it there once we start to understand and start to balance out all of these things that goes on in our body. Because I come to understand once we start to kind of balance out these energies, our mental change. My physical body no longer want to do those things, whether my mind want to do it or not. When you start aligning your chakras, finding out what's wrong with yourself, what you need to balance out, and some of those things where you falling short, and sometimes you overly active in some spaces. And I can't say that you always gonna get it right, but you can always improve it. Because if you go to your energetic space, everything gonna start working energetically. And it's just things that ain't gonna turn you on no more. It's gonna be things that just don't, you know what I mean? That just don't float your boat no more. But long as you kind of making letting your chakras just kind of be what your environment project and connect to you. You know, I just think at some point we need to just kind of wake up where we at, man. Find out where we going. Find out what it is we want, we need, while we taking where we going, what we taking. We ain't taking no cars. Well, we might take a car too, because we got to carry some people. But y'all get what I'm saying. When all that physical stuff started laying on the ground, start to rust, deteriorate, all you got left is your soul, man. All you got is your energetic self and how you project and what's been projected upon you. And how you connect and what you connected to and what you connected with. But you know, we all out here on our own journeys. And I guess they going well. If not, then take a look into yourself. Yeah, pay a little more attention to what energy you're letting in, what you're connecting and projecting. So, I appreciate y'all, you know, taking a listening ear. And hey, this your boy at the Ethers, Mojo Hype Man, talking about this 3D 5D thing for you, alrighty? So keep post, stay with me. I'm on the Ethers on YouTube. I'm on Black from Trauma. You know, I see y'all. I don't know if you took a look at my last series, which was Love Through Trauma. All right. So hey, I'll see you guys next time. We always at some point from 5, 10, 15, 25, 35, 45. We've completed so many cycles in those times. And some of those cycles we repeat. So once we start to understand that those are the processes and those are the things that source has aligned for everybody to be as in one accord. Because there's several energies out here. And you could choose to be with Jesus again, but there's several energies out here. If you look into your Yoruba and you look into your Orishas, if you look how many energies out there. It's several energies out there. Even in your Bible, several energies out there. All the L's. Ariels, Uriels, Raphaels. There's a lot of energies out there. Some high vibrational, some low vibration. Where you at? Where you at? And I don't care which one you with. Where you at? In your own cycle. This just to be conscious of what's going on with you as a human being. Some things that you need to, excuse me, some of those things that you need to separate from. Learn how to take things out of your energy And if you don't know, like I said, learn how to take those things out of your energy. Balancing out your chakras is one of those things. Just so you know, I do have a process where you could take a chakra test. I'll read that chakra, kind of tell you a little bit of difference in energies that maybe you can improve yourself in. All right. Don't hit me up just yet. I'm just throwing it out there. So once I put it together, we'll all be in line. All right. But balancing out your chakras, your energies, those things that create the automatic you. Not the things that are influenced outside, not the things that's projected. What's the automatic you? And you create that for yourself. So you can understand what's being projected on you. You can understand when you can see when you start to learn and start to see those different projections and those different connections, you'll start to understand more what it is you don't want to be connected to. And those are the things that your argument is about. Those are the things that when we get into an agreement or a disagreement, those are the things that we arguing about. My belief and your belief. What do we believe in? What I configure is true, and what you configure is true. What is that? Where that come from? How was that created? How did you create your guide? What did you create your guide to? But it's energies out here, man, that'll definitely give you whatever it is you want. It'll give you whatever energies, and it'll give you whatever it is you want. But like I always say, can you take the return? There's a cause and effect in every situation. And when you causing and affecting, you know what starts to happen? Things start to create as they start to polarize. Now it's one energy. Yeah. Now how you break that up? Because you've been causing and affecting. So we've been causing and affecting, and we've been building this whole energy. I'm going to give it to you in a relationship. You doing this, so I'm doing that. 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 Now everybody's just like, fuck it. I'm doing this, you doing that. That's part of the system. We both just get used to doing this and doing that. You know when it started to polarize? It started to polarize when you living together and you find out you cooking for yourself. That done polarized now, because you no longer feel looking at that as a connection, as part of being whatever it is y'all agreed to. If it's cooking and washing the dishes, I'm just using those as examples. But when you start saying, well, you know what? I'm gonna just wash the dishes all the time, it's already polarized in your energy. And that's everything like that. Everything like that. When you get up at 9 o'clock, when you get up at 7 o'clock, it's polarizing your energy. Your body ain't gotta want to get up, but guess what? Your eye gonna wink at 7 o'clock. But we gotta understand those things are happening. We got to understand that those things are happening. And once we're conscious that those things are happening, we get an opportunity. We get an opportunity to pick and choose the choices that we're going to make and keep in and take out. And don't be mad because you don't agree. Don't be mad that what you put in, they ain't accepted. Or what you taking out, they ain't accepted. you know, I always look at it kind of like this, right? I always kind of look at it like, the proof is in the pudding. When you give and you give and you give and you take and you give and you take and you give and you take, and guess what? It's gonna be some crumbs on the ground. That's the byproduct. That's gonna tell the truth. But you so steady. We so steady trying to be friction with each other and rubbing each other the wrong way. We so head bent on rubbing each other the wrong way that you know what our crumbs is? You know what our crumbs is? Our crumbs is we got kids that don't want to listen to their parents. We got adults out here doing little baby kid stuff. We got kids out here doing adult stuff. But those are the crumbs that's dropping from our friction. And we can look right down here in these crumbs and find out exactly what happened. We can tell exactly what it's made of. Chocolate chip cookie, it got molasses in it. It got vanilla in it. It got all this kind of flour, everything in it. But it's from the friction that we creating with ourselves that we think ain't nobody looking. But I'm gonna tell you this. Your astral self, which is your energy, your mental self is gonna always know the truth. It's gonna always know the truth. Because even to tell a lie, you gotta deviate from the truth. So we gotta learn how to not be not be triggered. Not be triggered. Not let external things or external people have the right to thumbscrew you or to thumbnail you. Pick your button. Because a lot of times, I don't got no button until I want a button. I put a button there for you to press. But other than that, I ain't got no button. I'm pretty cool. But I could create a button, like I could put a button there and just see how you want to press that button. But understand, that is also a conscious decision. That is also going to be the cause and effect. That also going to have its give out and return. And I'm like this, I feel like my chest big enough, so when I done put the button there, my chest already big enough, I think. And I just think that, we got to make more conscious choices. And create some patience for yourself, some temperance, some calm down. Not always ready to jump on the first lie. Let it play out. When it play out, you got truth. And don't expect the other person to make a solid decision on your truth. You got to make a solid decision on your own truth. So once we start to learn more how to argue, how to disagree with each other, how not to create these little energy bombs is what I call them. People think they be slick because they playing in the astral world and it ain't physical. You know, people play in the astro world and not be physical. So they do all of these things to connect to your energy. I'm gonna give you a little example, right? So now, when you dealing with lower vibrations, you know they do a lot of focusing on your destructive habits. So when you create destructive habits, that's what the lower vibrational spirituality hit attack. You like cars, guess what? It's gonna give you a bunch of cars, but it's gonna be your life. See what you gonna pay with. What you gonna pay with? You gonna pay with your soul, that's what you gonna pay with. And I ain't saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying if it's right for you, do it. But don't not want to accept what the return about it is. And I ain't saying wealth or money or none of that is always low vibrational. You know, it's who got it. It's who putting the vibration on it. So let's kind of quit that stigma on that one. Cause you know, financial things and external things and luxurious things has a vibration. It creates the energy in that person that vibes with all the luxuries. What you doing to get it? Because that's what's gonna count. That vibration that was created. That vibration that was created to get it. Because there's a go out and return. There's a go out and return. Be conscious of it. Because it's going to happen with or without you. And, you know, the truth going to always be the truth, whether you was there or not there. But our arguments just need to change. Our disagreements just need to change. We got to allow people to make mistakes. We got to allow people to learn. You got to allow people to create lessons. And that's what the lower vibration here to do for the most part. Those karmics are here to just teach us lessons. Sometimes they harsh, but you know, how else was you gonna get it? If you were stubborn in it, how else you was gonna get it? How else was you gonna get the lesson? Was I supposed to do it like I would have done Susie? Susie, I don't act like you. How's the energy supposed to balance itself out? Because it's gonna always do that. Through the planets. When the planets circulate, they start, you know, when they go into retrogrades and then they go into their regular self and then they start switching with these waning moons and then we have a full moon and we have all these other kind of moons. You know, those are the ebbs and flows of those energies. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother class in itself. How it connects with the planets and different energies and what solstices they're in and higher nodes and north nodes and all that kind of stuff. Right? So the energy definitely the source gonna definitely balance it out. It's just what it's gonna balance it out to. What it's gonna balance it out to? You did some fucked up shit, you gonna get some fucked up shit back. If your chest big enough to sustain the balance of the frequency of that hit back, then shit. Do it. But be ready for the return. And sometimes, you know, that energetic field, man, that energetic field, boy, that energetic field goes for generations. That's why we need to be conscious of it. See, that physical self, it might end at 120 years or something like that. But that astral self, that energetic self go for generations. Your kids get affected by your astral self, by your energetic self, by your soul. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of when you energetically playing around or energetically letting low vibrational projections influence your astral self. Because that's the one that ride from generations. Because your mental self kind of go, it kind of stays a little bit with your energetic self because that's what created your energetic self. However, it diminished like dementia too. But that energetic self ride for generations. So be careful how you playing around in that. And what you projecting and letting connect and what you connecting and letting project on that. Cause that's what creates your guidelines for your arguments. That's what creates your guidelines for your disagreements. For you not understanding. Cause sometimes it's just you ain't understanding and you mad cause you don't understand. We just got to look in ourselves and regulate ourselves, balance ourselves out, know what we creating for ourselves, know what we letting in, know what we connecting to, know what we balancing out. Because, we got things in our brains. We got neurotransmitters in our brain, neurotransmitter endings in our brain that create those things in your mind. And after enough exercise, it'll grow and make it fat. In your mind and your mind only. So if you don't balance it out, then you don't get... Now, it's going to grow regardless with the energetic and nervous self. Or, well, I'm going to say with your energetic and chemical self. But what are we growing? What are we connected to? What are we putting in our brain to be connected to? What's making our serotonin rise? What's making our dopamines rise? What's making us do that? Because it's going to do it regardless. And those are some of those things that's creating disease in your body. Cause some of those chemicals we trying to put together ain't connecting. Our physical body ain't in a position sometimes to even hold those thoughts or balance out those emotions. So it just sit. And fester. Just like the energy. Just like negative energy and positive energy. Just sits and festers. Positive energy don't necessarily create sores. It shouldn't, but it does sometimes. Because sometimes you put so much love on something. Till it can clean up a whole community. Some still died. They just died for something else. I just think that once we decide we're going to do better, associate with each other better, create good energies with each other. Not try to send each other to damnation. Not try to drag each other down to to the midst of, I guess what we gonna call hell. I guess that's what we gonna call it. And if that's where you decide that that's when you where you want to be, like, go by yourself. Just like for high vibration, if that's what you go do, that's what you decide you gonna do. Guess what you gonna have to do? Go by yourself. See, one thing about high vibration, you can't take people with you. One thing about low vibration, everybody got an opportunity to go. Because we've been created in a way where that is popular. But if you decide that's what you're going to do, take yourself. And take the ones who with you, who want to go with you. Stop influencing all of these people to do this thing when they don't understand what's happening. Cause when people start, standing up in that whole space. Cause see, right now, when you play around in your energetic self, it's tricky, real tricky. Cause just like projections are being projected, if you open for it, influences can be influences too. But what I don't understand is, why are we trying to drag people to the place where we all ain't gonna it ain't gonna be conducive for nobody. If you gonna go, go. If you're going to drag yourself down, then do that on yourself. Don't try to drag these people with you. And take the ones who want to go with you. If they want to go with you, go. But don't influence these young people that this is good. That's just what I think over here in the ethers. And we just need to be a little more mindful about how we talking to each other and how we dealing with each other. Be able to do better arguments. Be able to do better problem solving. Create better communication skills. And sometimes just choose to be upbeat about life on your own. Not because somebody came around, on your own. And you'll see some of those things changing within yourself. That's how you speed those chakras up, So yeah, once we pay a little more attention to our astral self, the one that goes for generations and generations, you'll be able to see what's happening. Because nobody can walk around without their energy exposing themselves. The energy gonna expose it all together. Especially when you listening with your first brain, with your stomach. Especially when you're listening with your stomach, because it's gonna tell you off the bat when shit going wrong. Guess what? You damn near got a shit. When shit going right, your throat full, head and everything. So those are some of the things that I think that we need to look at in our ethers, in our energy self, in our energetic self, that we need to exercise that as well. We need to look into those things that makes us, that's better our person, to better ourself. If it ain't good for your person, for yourself, then it ain't, it ain't gonna necessarily turn out right. It's gonna, a lot of things gonna taste nasty at first. But we just need to choose better. I did want to go back a little bit, from my previous one, when I talked about those silver cords and projections. you know, in those projections, that's what everybody's trying to connect to. The silver cord. Everybody's trying to get to that silver cord. That's all I wanted to let y'all know. All right. So this is the Ethers with your boy Mojo Hype Man. Just trying to keep us going, man. You know, we need to tighten up. We need to tighten up. So once we learn to tighten up in these ethers, then I think we'll have a better process. We'll have a better way to kind of move forward in life and not be subjected to what's going on around us. Because at this point, we know it's all destruction. We know it's all poison. But you know, you gotta pick the. You gotta. You know what I'm saying? You gotta. When you're out here and it's all you got is these poison berries. You know, you gotta try to create something. I'm gonna say one of these things that my daughter used to say, right? Well, she still say it, right? She like, oh, when they give you when they give you lemons, you make apple juice. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah. You know, you make them, when they give you lemons, you make them see miracles. You don't make just lemonade. You make apple juice. You create miracles. So when they give you lemons, make apple juice. Again, with your boy Mojo Hype Man.